Om Swastiastu. Hello everyone, my name is Niputo Ayuni Loviani and I'm from F class. Today I would like to talk about an article that titled The Curriculum for English Language Teacher Education in Australian and Vietnamese University. Actually, this is an article from a journal entitled Australian Journal of Teacher Education, which published in November 2013 by the author Min Huy Nguyen. Ladies and gentlemen, the field of second language teacher education of SLTE has been shifting towards sociocultural perspective, which view knowledge as socially constructed through participation in the sociocultural practices and context. It has established that teacher prior experience, knowledge, beliefs, interpretation of their practices, and most importantly, the sociocultural context of their practices are very influential in shaping, explaining the ways teachers do their work. Before we talk further, let's talk about what is SLTE curriculum design. According to Johnson and Goetz, they're proposing 4 issues that need to be addressed in designing and revising the SLTE program, includes the content of the SLTE, the form and structures, and also the sequencing of the content and form that is most conducive and to effective learning, and the articulation between teacher education and actual teaching. Graves 2009 also proposed the framework for this planning. SLTE focuses on who will be taught, what will be taught, how it will be taught, and how what is learned will be evaluated. The present study will be focuses on the curriculum development aspect of the SLTE, which adopts the definition of the knowledge based on SLTE as the constituent domains of knowledge, skill, understanding, and awareness by Richards 1998, rather than what proposed by Freeman and Johnson in 1998. According to the table that summarizes different views of the knowledge based on the SLTE above, we can see that it's getting specific along the time. Next is the studies on the SLTE curriculum development. The study also aims to identify how specifically the progresses were different and what distinctive contextual factors contributed to the differences. This research was conducted at Trellis University in Australia and Nam Do University in Vietnam. The Trellis University curriculum for SLTE was a 4-year double degree, with education being one of the 2 measures. The total number of the credit points for the double degree is 204, which is for education is 108, meanwhile we have 96 for the other areas. The education unit is for 2 teaching specialisms such as English and additional language like Japanese, EAL, or music. Meanwhile, Nam Do University curriculum were only 4-year degree of English language teaching, includes 137 number of credit points. It's used for preparing English language teaching in all levels. Like its aim for the empirical evidence to answer the following questions. First, what componential variation is there across and within the curricula of English language teacher education at Australian and Vietnamese University, and what contextual factors shape the 2 respective curricula of English language teacher education. We are talking about the methodology right now. The study actually used a mixed method approach to investigate the variation across and within the curricula of SLTE in terms of structure and the content and the contextual factors influencing the development of the curricula itself. There are 2 participants of this study, named Angela from Trellis University, that have been working as a teacher for 20 years and 9 years in the Trellis University. In working in Trellis University, Angela was involved in several curriculum innovation and took part in teaching units within the curriculum itself. And the second participant is Lan from Nam Do University in Vietnam, held the coordinating position in the Curriculum Development Committee. She also already taught for 15 years and great insight of the program, both curriculum development and the curriculum implementation perspective. There are 2 approaches in the study, named the quantitative one, within using the content analysis in English, the curricula, syllabi, and also unit grades, and the second type of documents including the teacher standards, teacher education policies, and the relevant literature. After that, the researcher quantified by weighting each domain, the curriculum calculated in form of the percentage. Next, we also do the qualitative interview within 30 and 40 with collected for the research, talking about how the teacher uses it. There are comparisons in this research Firstly, only a small portion of the pre-service teacher in Australian program come from non-English speaking background, while all pre-service teacher in the Vietnamese program are from non-English speaking background. Second of all, the Australian program was implemented in ESL setting, where English is spoken both inside and outside of the classroom. But in Vietnam, it's implemented in EFL context, where English is mostly used within the classroom itself. And the Australian program was a double degree, while the Vietnamese was not. Moreover, since both of the program was designed to prepare 7 candidates of the teaching of English language in a full range of contexts, so here the SLTA program need to provide opportunity like to develop the knowledge domains that are necessary for them to function as an effective teacher. For the findings, we're talking about analysis of the curriculum used in the Australian and Vietnamese students using the 6 domains knowledge that's suggested by Richard 1998. It's talking several points. First, the variation between and within the 2 curriculum in terms of the structure and contextual factors it contributed to shape the curricula. It's using the Richard 1998 for the knowledge base of the second language teacher education as a theoretical framework for analyzing the curricula under the research. However, the study didn't describe the detailed content of the various units of subject comprising the 2 teacher education program, but revealing the domains of the knowledge constituting the program that contextual factors underlying the structures of this program itself. It also showed the great variation across and within the 2 curricula of English language teacher education, both in Australia and also Vietnamese University, in the contextual factors that influence the development of the curriculum itself. Well, the study also found the areas within the strength and also the weaknesses that should be addressed to prepare the better pre-service teacher in the 2 contexts itself. In the Charles University, the curriculum was strong in the domains of the contextual knowledge, pedagogical, and also the skills. However, the problem was noticeable in the Charles University that the curriculum did not include any unit that explicitly developed the subject matter of the English language teacher because of the limited course of length and double focus, which provide the hard for them to acquiring the English language. On the other hand, Namdao University curriculum devoted most of its curriculum load to English proficiency and subject matter knowledge, but little to the contextual knowledge, pedagogical reasoning, and also decision making. This finding showed that Namdao University responded well to distinctive contextual features, and its pre-service teacher had limited proficiency and knowledge of the English language entry. This study also identified a number of distinctive contextual factors linked of weighting of the domains in the 2 university curricula. First, the Australian University, under the influence of the policy regarding teacher education, accreditation standards, and agreements among deans of education, it allocates a large portion of curriculum weighting and some weighting theories of teaching skill, and pedagogical reasoning and decision making. They are double focused in admission policy related to the English language requirements and the domain of the communication skills, and no time on the domain of subject matter knowledge. Meanwhile, in Vietnamese program, general low English proficiency of pre-service teacher, national expectation, language policy were major contextual factors that demand high percentage of curriculum weighting for subject matter. There are also financial constraints were principal factors that contribute to the limited curriculum time for teaching practicum. So we can conclude that from this research, the researchers acknowledge that although both SLTA program, both in Australia and in Vietnam, that concern in this research, English language teachers, all pre-service teachers in the Vietnamese program come from a non-English speaking background, while only a small portion of the pre-service teachers in the Australian program are from non-English background. Consequently, some of the findings that may be about the language proficiency might not have a direct implication for many Australian pre-service teachers. However, the number of the non-English speaking background from the EL increasing the Australian context, this study offers implication for better preparing this group of students for a EL teacher. Specifically, we should provide more opportunity for the pre-service teacher to have a bigger knowledge and advanced knowledge for the English speaking and also the linguistic things. So we can conclude that there's distinctive and also there are like quite big differences between two of the university, both from the system and also how they implemented the SLTE curriculum program, even though we adopted 6 domains from the research 1998. So it also affects the performance of the pre-service teacher in acquiring the language, in using the methodology, because the development of the curriculum can be implemented differently on both of the universities, since one is mostly coming from the English speaking background, meanwhile the other in the Vietnamese and coming from almost all of them is coming from the English speaking background. So we can see the differences, even though they develop the same curriculum, but it affects differently to the pre-service teacher. So that's all my presentation about how is it different of the developing and the implementation of the curriculum between the Trillis University in Australia and also Nam Do University in the Vietnam, and about the inner, outer and expanding countries in using the ELT. So I hope we can understand the differences of the development of the curriculum between the Australian and the Vietnamese university. That's all. Thank you. Om Santi, 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 Om.